Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Tempest and we get to hear from Ariel today in Act 4, Scene 1. So Ariel at this point in the play is still invisible and has just helped Prospero put on a bit of a wedding for Ferdinand and Miranda, where a whole bunch of spirits were there, Ceres, Iris, Juno, all that sort of thing. Ariel also played the part of a harpy, made themselves visible to play the part of a harpy to scare Alonso, Antonio, Gonzalo, that whole crew that's been wandering around trying to find Ferdinand, and reminded all of them of all the horrible things that they had done to Prospero. And Ariel has also been playing with Stefano and Trinculo, trying to sow the seeds of dissent in this little triangle between Stefano, Trinculo, and Caliban. And that's how we know that Caliban is using Stefano and Trinculo to try to kill Prospero, is because Ariel overheard it while they were invisible. So we just had a wedding between Ferdinand and Miranda, and everybody was dancing, and in the middle of the dance, Prospero was like, oh my God, I almost forgot that Caliban is trying to kill me. So he sort of disperses everyone, and then had sort of a lovely monologue yesterday wherein he's pondering his own mortality. But then Ariel comes in and he's like, okay, so your last thing, you did great, but remind me where Stefano, Trinculo, and Caliban are. Where did you last leave them? And Ariel says, I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending toward their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which, like unbacked colts, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears, that calf-like they, my lowing, followed through toothed briars, sharp furzes, pricking goss, and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to the chins, that the foul lake o'erstunk their feet. So Ariel's been having a high old time playing with Stefano, Trinculo, and Caliban, in part because they're all really, really drunk, and that makes it easy. They've been running around just being sort of idiots and swatting at nothing and cursing at nothing and all that sort of thing. So Ariel started playing some music and led them through thorny bushes and briar patches and all that sort of thing to this really awful, polluted, muddy lake that's right outside Prospero's cell, and left them sort of in that lake with their shins full of thorns and now, just stinking of this horrible water. And Prospero's like, oh, that's awesome, that's perfect. Go get all my really fancy clothes from in my cell, meet me there, and yeah, we've got a little bit more of a trick to play. So they run off to take care of that while Caliban and Stefano and Trinculo show up on the stage, and they're in this muddy lake, and they're like, oh my goodness, we smell horrible, this is awful. And Caliban is trying to encourage them to go kill Prospero, to do this thing, but the fancy clothes that Prospero had talked about, they sort of hung outside his cell, hoping that these drunk people will get a case of the ooh shinies and start playing with the fancy clothes, which, of course, they do. And the whole plot to make Stefano a king, there's well, that garment should be mine, and this one would befit a king, and all this sort of stuff. So they start scrapping over these clothes while Caliban is like, you just have to go right in there and kill him. And the other two are just having a blast with the clothes until Prospero and Ariel and the sprites show up pretending to be dogs, and they chase Stefano and Trinculo away, and Prospero gives another order for Ariel to follow Stefano and Trinculo and keep messing with them. And Caliban is like, crap, that didn't work. And that's the end of Act 4, Scene 1, which is also the end of Act 4. So starting tomorrow, we're in Act 5, and we're going to start to, for real, see some of the resolutions to all of these various plot lines that are going on. Because so far, we've only really had a marriage and a couple of thwarted murder plots. So we need to figure out how all the rest of it lays out and gets all tied back up together. So we will find that out in Act 5, in which there's only one scene. So Act 5, Scene 1, we've got a little ways to go to get through the whole thing, but we start in on it tomorrow. I will see you then for that. Mwah.